There won't be a bounce back for the Canadian economy, says Tiff Macklem here. What is he talking about? He's talking about the trade war with US, the amount of tariffs that if it were to be imposed, you could see the Canadian economy completely crumble in that situation here. I'm going to post a link in the description so you could follow along. There's an article here comes out from the globalnews.ca titled Bank of Canada Governor Tariff Warning. There won't be a bounce back. Basically telling people out there that if this situation goes through, don't expect things are going to be rosy in the Canadian economy. Yes, globally, if this were to happen with all the tariffs and that Trump talked about, reciprocal tariffs on all majority of the trading partners, there could be definitely global pain and higher inflation. But let's get into this article. It says if Canada is hit by sweeping broad-based tariffs from US President Donald Trump, the hit to the Canadian economy could be permanent, says Bank of Canada's head Tiff Macklem. Speaking to the members of Mississauga Board of Trade and the Oakville Chamber of Commerce on Friday, Macklem said the shock from the tariffs would be very different from the economic downturn caused by COVID-19 pandemic. Now here's the thing. I don't know why everyone's stuck on this COVID-19 pandemic kind of sell off and pick back, right? You hear it even from realtors out there saying that rates are coming down, things are, people are scared. As soon as rates come down, and they have been coming down, you're going to see a pickup in the property markets, and the property markets are going to skyrocket, and you won't be able to get a home because everyone's going to be buying. There's going to be so much demand, yada, 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 yada. You're just taking the COVID example and shoving it in people's face and saying that buy now or else, right? That's not true. That's not true. COVID was an anomaly. COVID was a black swan event. COVID was a different situation, which, yes, you had the sell-off, you had massive amounts of money printing, stimulus, QE, right? And people were at home, sitting down, getting their paychecks, getting free money from the government, from Bank of Canada, from their central banks, causing asset prices and inflation to skyrocket, right? The situation is different. It won't be the same as COVID-19. Just look at it right now. Rates have come down. Property market is on a standstill. Inventory is increasing day by day, right? As a buyer, it may be, a little bit better for you to negotiate because if you look at a lot of listings, the prices are well above or at COVID levels, but no one's buying, right? Because even though the rates have come down, it's still relatively high compared to those low rates that we saw during COVID. And if we do get low rates, go back to the zero bound, that means that there's probably something drastic happening in the economy, something big, right? Recession, crash, depression, economic downturn, no bounce back coming back. This is what Macklem is saying. This is what the head of Bank of Canada is saying right here. That if you get this, there's the bounce back will be very, very, very difficult. There won't be a bounce back. It will just permanently damage the economy, right? So let's continue with this. In the pandemic, we had a steep recession followed by a rapid recovery as the economy reopened, Macklem said. This time, if tariffs are long-lasting and broad-based, there won't be a bounce back. Macklem said while Canada could recover part of the growth, the damage would be long-lasting. We may eventually regain our current rate of growth, but the level of output would be permanently lower. It's more than a shock, it's a structural change, right? This would heavily affect the Canadian economy if the tariffs were to come, right? And it wouldn't be a simple COVID pandemic. It would be a prolonged recession. You would see growth hammered, output hammered, and the pickback would take a very long time. As Canadian goods become more expensive, U.S. demand for those goods would decline. A lower Canadian dollar would provide a partial offset, he said. He said the Bank of Canada estimates 8.5% decline in the first year following broad-based tariffs, with Canadian exporters expected to respond by cutting production and laying off workers, right? So the economy, the output, everything gets worse off. People get laid off, unemployment rate goes up. Now what? You're going to be buying homes? Prices going to be skyrocketing, as everyone says? Sure, maybe, inflation due to tariffs, things are going to get expensive. They'll probably run the money printer and do QE, which would make the inflation situation worse. And people would be jobless, right? So therefore, no. The real estate market, the Toronto Stock Exchange, the equity market, the stock market, they would all not be doing well. They would be plunging, or at least sideways or down. Most likely would be down. He said with the exports to the United States accounting for roughly 1/4 of our national income, the shock would be felt across Canada. This would lead to lower household income, he said. Canada's retaliatory tariffs would mean higher inflation. So higher costs, loss of jobs. 2-in-1 blow to the Canadian economy. So, you could continue to read through this and go through this article, but you get the picture, right? Tariffs would be really bad. Yes, sure, it would be bad for the U.S. economy. It would be bad for other countries out there. But the situation in Canada, if it were to happen, again, the key word, if it were to happen, it would be really, really bad, right? So now we also just recently got some news, positive news. The positive light is that Trump announced or appears to push back on the Canadian and Mexico tariff deadline. So the deadline was supposed to be March, right? That, okay, March he's gonna reignite and put tariffs on Canada and Mexico. But he's pushed back to another month, to April 2nd. So great, you got another month of breathing room. Now, if you look at the stock market, the U.S. stock market, the U.S. bond market, you're seeing the U.S. stock market sell off. You're seeing Bitcoin sell off, risk assets sell off, and safety, like bonds, pick up, right? So this is kind of sending a signal that what Trump is doing here, the market's not really agreeing with it. It's not liking what's going on. And there's a lot of uncertainty. What is he going to do? What is he really going to implement the tariffs? Looking back and, at all of this and seeing the big picture and seeing how Trump is, yes, he's a man that is likely to do something drastic and crazy. But to this level, to this extent, causing doing something like this and causing the stock market to plunge on his name, I don't think so. So as we see it already, right? He first said January, you're going to get the tariffs. Then he pushed it to February. Then he pushed it to March. Now he's pushed it to April, right? So this is more looking like a negotiation tactic. Again, right? Is he bluffing? Is he not? He can be a little bit crazy, but he can go ahead with it if negotiations not going well. But he's pushing back on it, right? And he's also come up with this reciprocal tariffs, which is also negative. Again, another thing for negotiation to take place and get countries and basically to get what Donald Trump wants, right? So, we'll have to continue to monitor this, but you already got the message from Macklem, right? You don't need to hear from Trudeau. You don't need to hear from any government officials. This is Bank of Canada telling you themselves, this is no bueno, no good, if this were to happen. So all we got to do is we know what the consequences would be. All we got to do is watch how this trade war progresses, right? what Trump's going to do. So now we know, okay, April 2nd, that's the new deadline. It's been pushed another month. Let's see if something works out. Markets, reacting not so positively here. Bond markets rallying as a safety net. We got Bitcoin plunging as well. If things start to look good and start to ease up, then sure, then great. All else is good. Risk assets to the moon. We start going up again. Equities, Bitcoin, etc., etc. But if not, then you can, again, like I said, he said it. Macklem said it. You know what to expect if this were to happen, right? And also the other thing is too, he also said if it's prolonged and if this happens for a very long period of time, there's no bounce back and it could get very, very ugly. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below, subscribe, hit the like button and the bell icon to be notified on the next video. Let me know what you guys think. Are we getting tariffs? Is Trump going to do something? Is it just, just tactics for him to get what he wants? Leave a comment below and let me know what your thoughts are. Cheers. I'll see you guys later. Bye.